especially now that, he's had the same type of players for a few years now there. So they don't even think twice about whatever he calls. He does a good job with the scheme. He tries to, see what your strengths are, and he tries to, take it away, just like what every other defense coordinator does. But he's got a really good blitz package. So we got our work cut out for us. Gone against him a lot, being in that division.
You have these offensive principles in your scheme of making things look the same, that are different, same. When a defensive coordinator does that, like Spags does, what are just some of the bigger challenges of just determining?
I think the biggest thing is not having a ton of stuff or maybe new stuff in offensive game plan. You want to be able to go out and play fast. And I think that's the most important thing with a game like this and that environment, with all the stuff that he does. I think it's important to make sure we're on point on everything, and don't want to have a lot of new stuff. There's a couple wrinkles here and there so we can see what they are doing. I think that's important. So, but yeah, he kept me up late last night, so he does a really good job. He's got 4 Super Bowls for a reason.
Obviously, Manu had to go out there and give you something. Probably a lot of us going into the season didn't expect him to have to start a game this year, but Jamarco goes down and Taylor's dealing with what he's dealing with. What did you think about what Manu gave you in a pinch there?
I do think it was encouraging. I really do. There were some things communication-wise or technique-wise that he could have done better. But listen, we won the game. The plan was set up to protect that side. The coaches did a great job with that. But I was encouraged. He's young. So he'll learn from his mistakes, and, he gets another chance. He'll do better. Just the more and more, how it is. The more reps you get, the better you're going to become. But I was encouraged.
Sticking with the offensive line, just the maturation of Tate. It looks like he's playing some really good ball right now. Just what you've seen from him over the first month and how he's kind of just settling in now.
Yeah. From game one, just the communication part, And again, I still think going against Shep in training camp has helped these guys a lot, especially someone like him, because it's really a similar scheme. Shep played for Spagnuolo before, so. But I just think he just keeps getting better and better and better with the RC, as I say it, and when you do that, the game kind of slows down for you a little bit, and you just got to make sure your technique is sound. It's just a couple things with his technique. Whether it's a twist here and there and the communication. So I think that's where he's grown. And again, I think he's got a bright future.
Dan yesterday about whether you guys would consider moving Panay to the left side if Decker has to miss extended time. Can you maybe just explain the value of a left tackle versus a right tackle? Do you value protecting that blind side more?
Back in the day, it used to be like that, but now you see these defensive ends, they go on the other side. But, it's the blind side of the quarterback. You got a right-handed quarterback, so, you want to make sure that side is protected well. As far as you got to ask Dan the question about who's going to be there. But it's important to protect the blind side of the quarterback. We did a good job with that last week. Where you're sliding over there or where you're chipping over there. You have to do that. And then you might have to get the ball out a little bit faster. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's important. You don't want them sitting back there and waiting for someone to get open. With this defense, you can't do that. Last week we were on schedule. We didn't have many third downs. It was first, second, short fields, and we were scoring. So I think that helped big time.
Talked about it previously, the commitment you guys have to the run game. If it's not working, maybe early, you just keep going at, eventually you'll break through. Yeah. With David in particular, right now, seeing a ton of stacked boxes, really struggling to maybe get going early in games. Obviously, you got going late with the 2 carries and the touchdown late this one, but what can you do to kind of help free him up a little bit from, you know, these 8-man fronts he's seeing?
Well, you can throw it. But we don't do that. We block it up, man. Because we got wideouts that can block. Now, if you don't have wideouts that can block, that's a different story. But our wideouts block. They're the best in football. And, you know, a lot of teams, they see that loaded box like that, they're just throwing it. But not with our guys. I mean, it's pretty impressive what our wideouts do. And and that's the reason why, you know, we're one of the tops in the run game, because of what they do. And then it just helps out with everything else, play action and the movement game and stuff. But this is who we are. You know that. I mean, we're going to pound it no matter what. 10-man box, it don't matter. So we'll just keep doing it until they stop it.
John, it seems like every time a defense blitzes Jared Goff, he's able to take advantage of that. I know he's not solely responsible for that, but just watching him, what allows him to thrive against the blitz in particular?
His film study, his preparation. He can see things. Like I said, man, the game is slowed down for him. He's playing at a high level. But we got our work cut out for us this week. You know, there's going to be, there's a lot of tape to watch. So, you know, we have to be on point with everything. And then there's always a when in doubt, we'll do this just to be smart. So there's nothing wrong, you know, the way our defense is playing. It's okay to just to punt.
Earlier in the week, I know you talked about going into the season, you wanted to expand, I guess, the vertical dimension of the game. Obviously, teams seem to be trying to, you know, limit that as much as possible with the coverage that they played. But you know, you have been able to get some stuff underneath. How much does Jameson really play a role in that? What he's been able to do to kind of open things up.
I mean,
underneath?
he's got certain plays, and whether it gets called in the game, it just depends on what they're doing. You know, like I said, we have to adapt and see what they're doing. And I mean, they played a lot of more zone last week, like too high. They really didn't do that. You know, I think that's a Jameson effect. I mean, there's a lot of weapons. And so they changed it up a little bit and took a little bit of his throws away. But listen, every game's different, like I told you guys. Everybody's got a certain amount of plays. There's a lot of guys that got to try to get the ball. You know, I was feeling Saint last week, rightfully so, right? And he helped us win that game. Like I said, I don't care what the coverage is. I'm going to call his number. He's reliable. And the quarterback knows that too. But I think with Jameson out there, there's a big threat out there, you know? And teams are just playing a little bit different.
This is very big picture, but you know, Dan was talking earlier in the week just the respect that he has for KC because of how much winning they've done, right? Years and years of it. You've been with, you know, good organizations and bad. Just in your eyes, what is the difference between a winning organization, you know, one that can sustain that for a while and one that can't?
Well, you can start with that quarterback and the head coach. He does a heck of a job. Andy Reid's a great coach. I mean, I admire him because, you know, Andy Reid was in the West Coast offense forever. And then when he drafted Mahomes, you know, Alex Smith was there that one year. People forget Mahomes sat for a year and he watched. But Andy Reid just totally flipped the script on his philosophy to adapt to that quarterback. And I think that's what great coaches do, even though you don't want to do it, but you have to play to that guy's strengths. But it's hard to do it every year. To do what they do every year, it's tough, man. It's tough, but it all starts with that quarterback. And they got a good scheme. They got a good scheme, and Spags has been there. So when you got continuity all the time, you know, that helps.
Just KC, like, is continuity, is that a key to
I
doing
think
it
it
legal?
is. Again, it starts with the quarterback, starts with the organization, the head coach, having the same guys all the time, and that's hard to do, you know. Some guys don't want to leave and because they get used to winning. Or some guys take the money and they leave, but, man, they stay together. I mean, that's the reason why they've had a lot of success, just the continuity over the years since Andy's been there. But as long as that quarterback's there, you know, they have a chance.
You said you were feeling St. Brown in that game, is there anybody that could do anything that could make you not feel good about St. Brown in a given game?
No. I told him, I don't care. I mean, there were some things where he shouldn't have happened, and it did. That's a good thing. But there's other guys. You know what I mean? There's going to be other guys that step up. Because, Lamore and him and Laporta, they're going now. If they take them away, there's other guys that they have to take care of. That's the beauty of what we have here as personnel. It's a good problem to have. So.
Kelsey's known for kind of just finding open space during some of those broken plays. Something I've noticed with Sam is that he always seems to know where he has the space and is able to get there even when he looks like he might be covered. How impressive is his ability to kind of give room for Jared to throw the ball?
Well, he's smart, he's savvy, and he's really good after the catch. Like, we had 171 yards after the catch last week. It's pretty impressive, and a lot of that was Laporta. But listen, when you got a guy like that, again, it's another guy that does everything right, and it's a comfort level for the quarterback too. When you got a couple guys like that, man, it can be deadly. And that's the way Kelsey's been over the years. He's just a real savvy guy. Sometimes the routes don't look that way, or sometimes he cuts a route off because he sees that, and him and the quarterback on the same page. They just know each other. I think that's one of the reasons why they've had success.
Thank you, John.